Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadham Bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai Kaljung Pavan Dharm Harinam Sankirtan ki jai ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai Assemble Bhakta Vrind ki jai Guru Gan Gauranga ki jai Nitai Gaur Prem Nandi Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna dear devotees. So welcome back. last last Saturday we had one session, and that day I was really feeling very bad. So recording was not good. What I would do is that I'm going to just go through some of the topics that we talked in last session very quickly. And our goal should be to basically finish this chapter because I think we took so many classes on this chapter. And I'm sure, as you all know, the title of this chapter is Contents of the Gita Summarized. So it just give us a kind of snap summary of what is being presented in Bhagavad Gita. So as we go along, some of these topics will be coming to us in a very detailed way. So we'll maybe give more time to make sure that some of these concepts are clear to us. You can anytime raise your hand and ask, if you have any questions or comment. But make sure that anything that we are talking is pertinent to the discussion that's going on. That way, it will help other devotees. If you have any specific questions which are not aligned with the discussion that we have going on, then it might be good to talk that at the end of the session. Mataji, are you raising hand? Santa Mataji? Did you raise hand, Mataji? I see hand raised.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Just
Yes.
maybe I can ask at the end also. Just I'm asking before we start this. Actually, I have a question on assignment. So can I ask now or
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, you can ask.
Okay. So particularly, like, of course, I have seen only the first chapter. So I'm good with small questions, but whatever we write essay, how do means maybe can you give us some tips, or if other devotees are following, maybe can you give some tips? Maybe we need to refer some other places, or
Yeah,
how
good
to
point.
answer
Good
them.
point. Good question. So Mataji, for short, questions and long questions, you have to try to adhere with Prabhupada's purport. And the intent behind that is, as we are going through the course, is should systematically study Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's purport. Like before giving this, class, I would read all the purport to make sure that, things are in my mind. So keep on reading, as much as you can and answer those two types of questions from Prabhupada's purport. Essay is basically open. So for essay, you can research because essay is very practical questions. So essay is very practical question, and you can basically look at some of the other commentary like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Also, you can look at, you can have your own thoughts, what you think. Some of the questions, will ask you that you are a preacher and you are talking the science of Krishna consciousness, and somebody has a very, strong objection around the statement that you are making. At that time, it's very subjective that how you will deal particular situation. And and you can basically give your hypothesis that how you would like to address that particular question. So you have that freedom, but the most important thing is that your answers should be logical. One point should be connecting with other points, and your presentation should be in a flow and in a logic. But for essay, it's wide open for you. There are some guidance given that what are the tips you have to, what are the line of sight that you have to follow as you are trying to answer. So try to stay within that, but you have freedom to go out and put your thoughts.
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah, yeah. For small questions, I don't have any questions because I'm
Right.
following for
But for a
different.
small and, long type answer, you have to adhere with Prabhupada's
Yeah. Yes,
teaching.
Prabhuji. For essays, you are mentioning about this commentary, right?
Yeah.
Normally, what are the authentic sources where we can get this? We can refer or study these commentaries, Prabhuji.
So you should try to basically get from Brahmadha Gauriya Sampradaya teaching. That's our number one priority. We don't
Okay.
want to basically go and bring the thing from other Sampradaya. That's for sure. We cannot because that will confuse you more than help you understand a particular concept. If you have particular understanding about particular subject, keep it aside. But right now, try to channelize your thought process as per the teaching provided by our acharyas. So you can, although you have the liberty to find the answer from outside, but when I say outside, beyond Prabhupada's writing, you can have the commentary of other acharyas, and you can have your own thought process, but it has to be logical, as I said. But we should not try to basically uh, answer from Ramanujacharya's teaching or some other Sampradaya teaching, because that might be completely contradictory to the you know point that we are trying to make.
Yeah.
Okay, Kunj Vilasini Devi Dasi Mataji, what is your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Maybe I missed that in first session about the assignment. So when will be the assignment? Like, is it like every week or how?
So here is the best way to do it. So we will be basically, going chapter by chapter, and then each chapter has 4 or 5 themes. So you have to basically try to follow. Like for example, so far we have studied up to 53 verse. So if you have been going with course, then by this time you should have answered up to 53 verses. That's what I'm expecting, that you should basically go with the flow of the class. And then suppose today I'm going to finish second chapter, I'll try to finish. Then by next Friday you should submit the homework of second chapter. So even if you haven't basically followed so far, you might be behind on 53 verse. But by next week, Friday, you should try to go through your second chapter homework and submit it. So Mataji, I haven't sent you all the course material. I'll send it to you. And then that will, help you understand what exactly I'm talking about.
Okay, so you will send us the assignment like
Yes.
homework.
So I
Yes.
have yes, Mataji, I have basically Google, college, where I have created the link for this course. So I'll add you, I'll send you the link. You can join the group, and then there you can receive all the course material, and also you can submit your homework. Okay. Thank you. So let's go through this topic and then remaining, verses, and then we'll talk more at the end of the class. So far we have discussed 53 verses, and first, 11 verses are basically Krishna, Arjuna is still lamenting and saying that, my dear Lord, why do I have to fight? And then the 4 reasons that you have been seeing was given in the first chapter. And the reason that Arjun gave, the first he said that how can I fight with my friends and relatives? So it's very much coming out of compassion. And then he says, I'm not seeing any, reason for this fight, because who will be left over to enjoy? I'm not going to have my relatives and kinsmen around me with whom I can enjoy my kingdom. And then he says that it's going to be sinful to fight with our own relatives. And finally, he says that if all of my members of family are killed, then my family tradition is going to be destructed, and then Varna Sankara will take birth. Unwanted progeny will take birth in my family. And then those questions are being answered systematically. So up to verse number 30, Arjuna's compassion, which is very much based out of bodily relationship, Krishna is answering and making him understand what is matter and what is spirit. That's called basically Sankhya philosophy, analytical study of spirit and matter. And there we have heard what is the nature of the matter and what is the nature of the spirit. And then the second part where he's saying that there is no enjoyment left over for me if all of my relatives are killed. So that is fruitive activity. The result of the fruitive activity is that one wants to enjoy the results of the action that one has done. Then Arjun is being taught about sakam karma, the karma that has fruitive result, and which is basically activity that we do through our varnashram system. So there, Krishna is teaching Arjun that what is sakam karma. So higher than sakam karma is niskam karma, and that has been taught up to verse number 53. So in niskam karma, first part of niskam karma here, basically for bhakti, the word that is being used here is buddhi yoga. So some part of niskam karma where the goal of that niskam karma is not devotional service, then it's niskam karma. But when that niskam karma is done for the pleasure of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that becomes bhakti. So the word that is being used here is buddhi yoga, means having the proper intelligence. You have the knowledge of matter and spirit. You have the understanding of sakam karma. You have the understanding of niskam karma. And then you are using all of this understanding. And then on top of that, you are acting in niskam karma to please Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then that becomes bhakti. And through that discussion, I'll just in next slide. So what are the points that has been emphasized? So in Gyan Yoga, Krishna is telling that there is gross body, there is subtle body. Both gross and subtle body are matter, and they are destined to be destructed. So why to lament for something which is destined to be destructed? Why you will lament? And why to lament for something which is never going to be destructed? Soul. Soul is not destined to be destructed. So why to lament? So in any case, there is no reason, O Arjun, for you to lament, because the matter is going to be destructed and soul is everlasting. And then about sakam karma, for sakam karma, what is the intent? The intention is that you want to enjoy the fruit. So Krishna says that even if you win, not sure, but if you win, you will enjoy the kingdom. But if you lose, if you get killed, since you are being killed and you are following your Varnashram dharma, you will enjoy the heavenly planet. So even if you look at in a Sakam way, there is win-win for you. But if you not fight, then you will incur sin because you are the Kshatriya, and Kshatriyas, Varnashram, Kshatriya dharma is to establish dharma and fight for righteousness. So if you are not fighting, you are going to incur sin. And if you leave, everybody will laugh on you. They'll say that, oh, Arjun, run away from the battlefield. And that's going to, create a lot of infamy and criticism for you. So higher than Sakam is that you act. And how you act, Shukha dukha same kritva lav lavho jaya jayo. Don't worry for sukha and dukha. Don't worry for your happiness and your pleasure. Don't worry for lavha or alavha. Don't worry for what you are going to gain, what you are going to lose. Okay, and don't worry for jaya jayo. You are going to be victorious or you are going to be defeated. That should not be your priority. Okay, karmanyavadhikaresu ma phalesu kadachana. Your duty is to only act. The result you have no right on. So that is niskam karma. And then in that process, Krishna says that vyasatmika buddhayeka kurunandana, be very resolute. Your faith should be firm. Your intelligence should be fixed. And achalam buddhi, Krishna says that your intelligence should be completely fixed. And as soon as Arjun heard this fixed intelligence, sthit pragya. Sthit means fixed, pragya means intelligence. So fixed intelligence, a person who is performing devotional service in niskam bhav, his intelligence is fixed, achalam buddhi. As soon as Arjun heard this sthit pragya, he started asking questions. Who are this sthit pragya? So that's what basically we'll try to go through from 54 verse to 72 verse. That's the objective we have today. If we can finish, I would like to finish that today. So Arjun Uvacha, Sthit Pragya Ka Bhasa Samadhi Sthishya Kesava Sthit Dhi Kim Prabhasit Kimasita Brjeta Kim. So Sthit Pragya Ka Bhasa. What are the Ka Bhasa? What are the general symptoms of the person whose intelligence are fixed? And then Kim Prabhaseta. How does he speak? And when we are talking about speaking, we are basically trying to understand when that person is exposed to dualities, how does he handle the duality that is coming upon him? And then Kim Ashita, how does he sit? Means when he has been exposed to the sense object, how does he refrain? When there is opportunity for him to enjoy the sensual pleasure, how does he do in that situation? And then Kim Barjeta, how does he walk? Means how does he responses to the sense object? So these 4 questions are being answered from here until verse number 71. So I went through this last class. I'll just try to go with this very quickly. So symptoms of the Sthit Pragya. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani evatmana tushtaha Sthit Pragya taduchyate. So Prajahati yada kaman, he has given up all of the material desire. Very important. Prajahati, given up all the material desire. Sarvan partha manogatan. Manogatan means the desire which is coming from the mind. So most of the material desire is coming out of mind, which is not purified. Atmani evatmana tustaha. So he is happy. He is happy within himself by serving the Supreme. Isthit pragya tadochate. That type of person is called isthit pragya. So one who has given up all material desire that arise from the mind, monogatan, O Partha, and one who is satisfied in the self as servant of the Supreme is said to be Sthit Pragya. Then how does he respond to the duality? Very, powerful statement. Dukheswa anudvignamana sukhesu vigat aspraha vitraga bhaya krodha sthir dhir muni uchyate. And then the following verse continues, Yah sarvartra sane vinas tat tat prapya subha subham na vinandati na dvesati tasya pragya pratisthita. So, dukheswa anudvigna manaha, when he is in distress condition, his mind is not disturbed. Sukheswa vigat aspraha, and when he is being praised, when he is exposed to a blissful environment, he is not elated. Bitrag bhaya krodha, very important statement. He is free from beat and raga. Later you will hear that the material endeavor that we are part of is driven by rag and dvesha. We are crazy about something that we like, and we don't want to hear about something if we don't like, if we hate something. So bitrag bhaya krodha, that person is free from attachment and fear and anger. Such person is said to be in sthit pragya. Continues, unaffected everywhere in this world. Doesn't matter where you put him, he's not going to be affected by it. Tat tat prapya subha subham. Whatever good or evil he may obtain, navinandati nadvesati. He is not praising, or he's not desiring or not despising for it. Tasya pragya pratisthati. Such a person is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So how he handles the duality? The answer is that he has no impact. Duality does not impact his consciousness at all, because he's formally fixed in Atmani Evatmanah Tustaha. His bliss, his pleasure is coming serving Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is not going to be distressed or elated when Sukheswa or Dukheswa or any other duality is exposed to him. Then third question, how does he sit? How does he restrain his senses when he is exposed to the sense object? Yada samharate chayam kurmo anganiva sarvasaha indriyane indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratisthita. So yada samharate chayam kurmo anganiva sarvasaha. The example is given here, tortoise, turtle. So tortoise is walking, with all limbs coming out. The feet are out, the head is out. And as soon as tortoise will see there is some distressful environment, there is some, issue with their safety, right away, it will suck all the limbs inside the shell, and it will be protected. Likewise, a person who is sthit pragya, indriyani indriyarthavyas. Indriyani senses, indriya arthav means the sense object. So when indriya is coming in the contact with sensual object, he withdraw his senses, like turtle withdraw their limbs or its limbs within the cell. So he is very, very protected. He cannot let his senses dominate over him. Even he is exposed to the sensual object. So that's how basically he restrained the senses. Then how it can be done? Okay, visayan vinivartante nirharasya dehinah raso varjam raso apyasya from drištva nirvan from drištva nirvartate. How one can do that? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Ahar is basically food, and niraharya means fasting. So one can basically try to control their senses by artificially forcing it to not enjoy the sense object, such as one can stop eating, one can fast, even if one is hungry. So by not eating the food, one can restrain eating. One can avoid, filling the belly by forcefully not eating. Likewise, there are other ways, such as yogi, mostly hot yogi. They will go to the forest place. They will reside in a secluded place. There is nobody around, and in a scorching sun, in severe cold, they will be torturing their body, and they artificially try to control their senses and focus on supreme soul. All they do, but as soon as they come to the place where there are sensual object, the presence of the sensual object, they come to the place where they see people are enjoying, it becomes very hard for them to control their senses. Rasam varjam rasopiyasya. Although they have artificially tried to refrain the senses, but the taste for the sense has not gone. An example can be given that a seed, when seed is basically in a silos away from soil, water, sunlight, the seed will be in a neutral state. But as soon as you transplant, you sow that seed in the earth, it receives the moisture, receives the sunlight, seedling will come, and then again, it will start growing up, and finally it becomes plant. So the taste for sensual desire does not go away by artificially trying to prohibit it. So what is the way one can control the senses? From drištva nivartate. Para means higher. By engaging the senses into higher taste, okay? And by process of devotional service, that's what we do. We engage our eyes seeing the deity of Krishna. We engage our nose smelling the flower that is offered to Krishna. We engage our hearing, hearing the ears, hearing the name, roop, lila, of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by engaging and developing the higher taste slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, the taste for lower object automatically goes away. And it's very critical. Many of you, all of us, if we look back into our life, how we were like 30 years back, 20 years back, 15 years back, depending how long you have been in your devotional service, look at all the habits that you had, good habit, bad habit, and see slowly and slowly those bad habits are going away. Why? Because you are developing higher intelligence. You have a taste for the higher thing. And with that higher taste, the lower taste is automatically dropping out. So Isthit Pragya has developed higher taste by engaging in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's how he has no taste for lower object. And then Krishna says, but here is the thing. Somebody who might be wise, might be, very ontological, thinking and, going with logic and argument. still that person, when time comes, he will be distracted by the senses. So, O Arjun, although endeavoring to control the senses, even for a man of full discrimination, the senses are so strong and impetuous that they forcibly carry away his mind. Okay, so it's very important that yatato hi api kontaya porsasya vipashitah, a man who has understanding of discrimination. What is discrimination? What to be done, what not to be done. But Indriyani Paramathinhi, the Indriya is so Paramathinhi, so strong, Haranti Prasabham Manha, mind, it steals away the mind of that person. So even being wise is not going to help. But what will help? Tani sarvani samyama yukt asita matparaha. Very important word. Vase hi yasa indriyani tasya pragya pratisthita. So tani sarvani samyama yukt asita matparaha. The person who has tani sarvani samyam, by controlling his endeavor, trying to be matparaha, trying to meditate on me, the person who is taking my shelter. Yukt asita matparaha vasahi yasya indriyani tasya pragya pratishtata. At due course of time, that person's intelligence will be fixed. So Krishna says that wise person cannot have this control. But if one who is trying to restrain his senses and fix his consciousness upon me, keeping senses under full control, at some point he will become a man of steady intelligence. So by bhakti, here Krishna says that one can have the fixed intelligence by developing higher taste. But what happens to that person whose senses are not controlled? ध्यायतो विषयं पुंसः संगास्ते सुपजायते संगात् संजायते कामा कामात् क्रोधाभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोह सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति विभ्रमशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So what happens that a person dhyato start meditating on the sense object, and with that meditation sangas attachment developed, and with that attachment sangat sanjayate kama, the lust will develop. And if lust is fulfilled, then it becomes lova. If lust is not fulfilled, then it turns into anger. I want this. If I got it, I want it more. So lust drive into lova if it's fulfilled. And if it's not fulfilled, then it comes as a anger. Kamat krodha avijayate. If the lust is not fulfilled, anger arises. And what happens with anger? Krodhad bhavati sammoha. With that anger, sammoha, delusion, the intelligence to discriminate what to be done and what not to be done comes. And when that discrimination intelligence has lost, then memory, smriti, bhramshad, the memory has lost. And what the meaning of memory here? The past experience. Oh, once I touched the fire, and by touching the fire, my finger was burnt. But I forgot that. My desire has become so strong that I still want to touch the fire. Now I have lost the discrimination between fire and other object. I have forgotten. My memory is lost that touching fire, I'm going to be burned. And then with buddhinaso, completely the intelligence has lost. And then in that stage, Jiva falls down. Punarapi Janamam, Punarapi Marnam. We are caught into the cycle of repeated birth and death. So first 4 items, Dhyayato, Sangas, and then Kama and Krodha are symptom of a surrender mind. If mind is surrendered, then these 4 things happens. We meditate, we are thinking about, oh, how nice it will be if I am XYZ. And then with that, a strong lust develop. And then the planning starts, happening. So these 4 part, meditation, attachment, desire, and krodha, are part of a surrender mind. If mind is surrender, then these 4 things happens. And once mind is surrender, then it forces the intelligence. And it forces the intelligence, then the discrimination capability, the power to discriminate has lost. Our memory, what Shastra is teaching, what Guru Shastra and Sadhu has told, that part will be gone. And then finally, loss of intelligence refers to our determination. Now we are not determined. Our determination has completely lost. And then we end up doing unwanted, undesirable, menial activity, and then we get caught. So this is very, very powerful, sequence here that's being presented. How Jiva is falling down into the pool of that material world, into the pool of this material world. And this is the order: contemplation, attachment, lust, anger, delusion, bewilderment of the memory, loss of intelligence, and finally falling down. Okay, then we'll go through some more verses and then we'll have some time to discuss. But what happens? Yes, Prabhu. We can't hear you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhu, in the in the previous slide on the left hand side, can you explain that surrender of mind? I mean, the surrender of mind, I could not relate it with the 4 points.
So what happens is that when our mind has thinking, feeling, and willing, so when our mind is surrender under, when our mind is surrendered to certain object, certain sense object, then we start thinking about it. So mind will start thinking about it, right? You're sleeping in the night and then mind is thinking, how can I get it? How can, I have it? And with that, there is association. Now we are associating with that mind. We are associating with that sense object. So by meditation, dhyayato, we have developed sangha, which is attachment. Sangha basically, brings the attachment. So it's all coming from the mind. Mind has meditated. By that meditation, since we have associated with that sense object, it has developed attachment for that. And when that attachment has become very strong, then we have developed lust, desire for it. No, I want it. And once I have that desire, then I want to fulfill it. If I fulfill it, then I want more. And if I don't get it, then I become anger. So all of these 4 basically follow one after another once our mind is surrendered to certain sensual object.
Yeah, actually, I was reading at surrender of mind to the Lord, and I was not able to connect with. Yeah, so surrender of mind to the sense object. Okay.
Yeah, surrender of mind to the sensual object. Yeah.
Okay.
So once mind is surrendered to the sensual object, then it starts basically following the steps one after another.
Because I was thinking about the Lord, I was not able to relate it to the.
No. If our mind is surrendered to Lord, then it will go in the opposite direction. It will free us up.
Yeah, that's
and then. Yeah, and when the mind is surrendered, then basically it forces intelligence to lose the power of discrimination, loses the previous experience and teaching of the Shastra, Guru and Sadhu, and finally, forces us to lose the capability of or a strength of determination.
Yeah.
So we are very much now prone to go after it, And I remember when I was, when I was going college. I mean, in one sense, it's good, but I would get up, I will just, go have food and then go to bed, and I'm sleeping, and then suddenly comes, in my mind that tomorrow in my exam, if thing that I haven't studied will come, how I'm going to answer. If I don't answer, then I'm going to get, low score. If I get low score, then I'll be the, low rank in my class, all of that. And then right away, get up. Right away, get up. And the same thing that was in my mind, I go and read that part and keep on reading. And, one thing I finish, next thing is lined up, next thing is lined up. And that way, whole night, I didn't sleep. So that was happening when we were going to school. I remember if the exam is, 1 week, entire 1 week, no sleep. And then once exam is done, then 1 week we are just sleeping. So my mind basically creates, and then in the exam, maybe whatever I had studied in the first 5 hours, that was sufficient. I could have done, equally good with that 5 hours of the study. But mind is saying that, no, what happens if that thing comes which you haven't studied? So mind starts basically, planning. So that's what exactly is trying to tell.
Yep. Good. Thank you, bro.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So we'll move to the next one. So Raga Dvesa Vimuktasya tu Vishayan Indriyasharan Atmavashyar Vidheyatam Prasadam Avidakshati. So the person, one who is free from attachment, aversion, and engages his senses in the sense object, will control mind or regulatory principles, attain peace or mercy of the Lord. So now, basically, Krishna is saying here that what is the benefit of the person, who has attained this fixed intelligence. So prasadam adi gacchate. That person who has attained this peace, that person will really have a blissful life. So the result, what will happen if we have attained that fixed intelligence, achal buddhi, which is not disturbed by the duality that is being exposed. Raga dvesa vimuktastai, completely free from raga and dvesa. Vishayan indriyasharan, and the indriya has rejected the enjoyment. Atmavasayar vidheyatam prasadam adhigacchate. The person has fully control over his senses and he's enjoying within himself. That person has received, that person will receive the bliss, the real bliss. And what will happen by by receiving that bliss? Prasad sarva dukhanam anir yasopajayate prasanna chetaso hi yasau buddhi prayava asthite. So this is very important. Prasad sarva dukhanam. So with that bliss, all the material misery, all the distresses that we feel in the material world, hanir yaso pujayate, all of that would be carried away. All of that distress will be destroyed. Prasanna chetaso hi asau. Asau refers to quickly. Prasanna chetasa, his cheta, his consciousness will become blissful very quickly. Buddhi praya avasthite, and then his intelligence will be firmly fixed in Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you go back to verse here, it says, Krishna saying here, let's go to this verse. It says here, Prajahati yada kaman, sarvan partha manogatan. One who gives up all material desire that arises from the mind, O Partha, and is satisfied in the self as a servant of the Supreme is said to be Sit Pragya. So a person who is Sit Pragya has given up all the material desire, right? And see how one can give up the material desire by engaging in devotional service. In that engagement, prasanna chet sohi yasho, buddhi praya avatisthate. Very soon his mind, his intelligence will be formally fixed. Then what would happen? Nasti buddhir akutasya na chaktasya bhavana na shavayatah shantir ashantasya utashukam. So this is contrary verse. So what would happen to the person who has not received the mercy? The person who does not have the fixed intelligence. What will happen to that person? Na astir buddhir ayuktasya. Na chayuktasya bhavana. He's a person whose buddhi is not fixed. Bhavana, whose mind is not fixed. Na chavyatah shantir asantasya toshukam. For such person whose mind and intelligence is not fixed, how there will be happiness for that person. So many devotees say that this is the formula, the peace formula that is given by Krishna. So a person whose mind and intelligence in this two verses 64 and 65, we are seeing a person whose mind and intelligence are fixed. They are free from all the they are free from all the distresses of the material suffering, and they are enjoying the bliss. But on the other hand, a person whose buddhi means intelligence and whose bhavana, mind is not fixed, for such person there is no peace. And if there is no peace, asantasya kuta sukham. So for that person, where there is happiness. Okay, so this is a contrary verse to 64 and 65. Indriyanam hi chartam yan mano anuvidyate tadasya harati pragyam vayur navam yuvamashi. How strong are the senses? Vayur navam yuvamhashi. When boat is sweeping over the river, the wind can take it away, right? Vayur navam yuvamhashi, ambhashi. Yuva ambhashi means water. So as boat is floating on water, the wind can take whichever way we want to take that boat. Likewise, a person whose senses are not controlled, indriyanam hi chartam. The person, chartam means moving. A person whose senses are not controlled, yan mano anuvidyate. A person whose mind are not controlled, that person will be easily carried away, like wind carries the boat. So that's the another example given to make this point very clear, that how important it is that we must have control over our senses, because the firmness of intelligence begins by controlling the senses. Roaming senses on which mind focuses can carry away one's intelligence. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho nigrahitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthabhyas tasya pragya pratisthate. But on the other hand, a steady intelligence is therefore to restrain the senses from their object by fixing the mind on Krishna, O Mahabaho, O Arjuna. If you want to fix your intelligence, then restrain your senses from the sense object. And then very powerful metaphoric verse is coming here. Ya nisa sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami. Yashyam jagrati bhutani sa nisa pashyato mune. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam. Ya nisa is night. Ya nisa sarvabhutanam. What is night for sarvabhutanam, for all the living being? Tasyam jagriti samyami. At that time, devotee, a person who is pragya pratisthita, is awake. So when all living beings are sleeping, a pragya pratisthita, a person with fixed intelligence, who is a person of the fixed intelligence? A person who is engaged in devotional service. A devotee is awake. Yashyam jagriti bhutani. And when all the living beings are sleeping, Sha Nisa Pasyato Mune. At that time, devotee is awake. So when all the living beings are sleeping, devotees are awake. When all the living beings are awake, devotees are sleeping. Sa Nisa Pasyato Mune. So this is the metaphor that given to understand that what is the difference between a person who is captivated by their senses, a person who is driven by their senses, versus the person whose intelligence is fixed and who are engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What would happen? You would see many times that what you say and what somebody else is telling you would not make sense to you. Everybody on Saturday morning want to go somewhere else, do something. Devotee wants to go to temple, right? Everybody wants to do, night out, night party. Devotee wants to go to devotee home and spend their time doing the kirtan. You can see the, huge difference. Our taste, our decision making, our liking and disliking is completely opposite to the people who are very much driven by senses, right? It's just the difference of night and day. Their night, day for us, our day, night for us. So that is the difference you have between a person who is sthit pragya and a person who is not the sthit pragya. So how to understand this? And then after that, we'll take some questions. There are two types of intelligence. One is the intelligence of sthit pragya, a person who is fixed, a person who has a fixed intelligence. And when we say fixed intelligence, a person who is trying to be self-realized by engaging themselves in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so that's basically the intelligence of Sthit Pragya. On the other hand, there is material intelligence, and that intelligence is very much based upon sensual pleasure. That intelligence is very much driven by raga and dvesha. What will make me happy? I would like to do that. Anything that will create distress to me, I want to stay away from that. So two types of intelligence, and one type of intelligence is just opposite to other, like day and night. Day for devotee is night for non-devotee. Night of the non-devotee is day for devotee, because they are driven by different type of intelligence. One is trying to be Sthit Pragya, and in that process, one is trying to have control over their senses. They are receiving the bliss. We just read in this verse that prasadam adhigachati. They are peaceful, and with that they are slowly trying to be achal buddhi, fixed intelligence. and slowly they are proceeding towards pure devotional service. On the other hand, a person who is driven by rag and dvesh, their doing and not doing is based upon happiness and lamentation, and they are just opposite to each other. So after this, we have 3 more verses to go. I would like to finish that, but is there any question anybody has? Any? I saw Prabhu, you had your hand raised. Anything that you wanted to share?
Yeah, question. If
Yeah.
I was 64, 65, and 68, I had actually 2 questions. So can we see this as a linear or as a cyclic one? Because
Please repeat that. What exactly you mean? Like,
in 64 verse, you say that when we engage our senses in a regulative manner, at that time, intelligence will be established. And in 68 verse, we say that after the intelligence is established, then we can restrain from the senses. So is it a linear? I don't see it as a linear one. I see it as a more like a cyclic one. Is that right understanding?
so I see what you are saying. So this thing is basically, here is how it happens. Like you have some degree of sense control. You have some degree of firmness in your intelligence, right? And with that firmness of intelligence, it will help you to have some degree of sense control, because we cannot have sense control in one shot, and we cannot have fixed intelligence in one shot. Also, in fixed intelligence, there is no quantity that you become here, then your intelligence is fixed. Your intelligence is fixed too, right? But if you compare your intelligence with the intelligence of one of the Swami of our society, they have more fixed intelligence. But you also have some sense control. They also have some sense control, right? So what you say, I don't know if you say linear or circular. I mean, whichever way you would like to understand that. But in my opinion, this has a gradation and reciprocal. It's reciprocal relationship. It's not discrete, it's continuous. So some degree of, Prabhuji, some degree of sense control will help have some degree of fixing of. I have some fixed intelligence too, right?
Yeah.
But do I have completely fixed intelligence? No, I still get lamentation, I still get distress. But do I really severely get distress like other people? No. I have some understanding that, whatever sukha and dukha is coming in my life, it's coming because of Krishna, right? But I still sometimes I forget that. So I would put it that way, if that helps.
Okay, so it's more like an integral process which goes hand in hand. One helps another.
Karma, sanay. Yes, this is just the process. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and the material, I'm sure that I just want to confirm this material intelligence which we are talking about, that is not the intelligence which is achieved after, the result of attaining mercy. In 65th verse, when it is said that intelligence is soon established, that is intelligence of a sthita pragya, not the intelligence of a materialist, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So 64, 65 is talking about basically for sthit pragya.
Okay.
Only this verse here, it says that Teya Nisa Sarvabhutani, the Sarvabhutanam has the material intelligence, or the Bhutanam, or the living beings who have the material intelligence.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
That's what. So it's basically, it's giving us a comparison that first who are the Sthit Pragya, then we saw how to come to Sthit Pragya, and then we saw some of the benefit of Sthit Pragya. But on the other hand, we saw some contrary verse here, like for example 66, that the person whose intelligence is not fixed, that person would not have peace.
Yeah.
And if there is no peace, then how you can have the happiness, right? So we saw here, and then again we saw 2 verses that help us understand how we can even make our intelligence firmer. And then here another thing we saw that says that, so there is some contradiction also going after a few verses. If that helps, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we have few more verses and then we'll try to finish this chapter. So Sthit Pragya has unagitated desire. Apuryamanam achala pratistam samudramapam parvishanti yadvat Tadvat kamanyam parushanti sarve sa shantim apnoti sa kama kami. So it says that ocean receives all the rivers, but still ocean is not causing the flood. Okay, so water is still within the bank of the ocean. Similarly, Isit Pragya, a person, and here is the very good kind of summary. Similarly, a person who is Istit Pragya, he receives all types of emotion coming in, but he is not disturbed by it. Okay, that's what basically this verse is saying. That if we are not disturbed by all types of emotion that coming in, then we are Sthit Pragya. And then last two verses very much is Falasruti. Okay, very much is Falasruti, means what happens to the person who are Sthit Pragya. Bihaya Kaman Iha Sarvan Pumas Charati Nispriha Nirmamo Nirhankara Shashantim Avigachati. So Bihaya Kaman Iha Sarvan, he has given up all object of sense enjoyment. Pumas Charati Nispriha, without any desire. So he has become basically desireless. He has given up all the object of sense enjoyment. Nirmamo Nirhankara, very important point. Aham mameti, he is out of me and mine and out of any false ego. So he is nirmamo, does not have any, possessiveness, and nirahankaro, he does not have any false ego. Sasantim avigachati. Such person will really attain the real happiness. So these qualities are qualities of Isthit Pragya, and Isthit Pragya will ultimately receive the real happiness, which means back to home, back to Krishna. Esa Brahmi Isthitah Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuyati Sthitwashyam Antakale api Brahma Nirvanam Brikshati. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Falasruti. So Esa Brahmi Sthit Partha. Oh Partha, oh Arjun, this is the symptom of a person who is going to attain Brahm Nirvanam. A person who is going to come to me. Nanam prapyam vimuyati sthit vashyam antakale. Antakale api. Please note that this position, this is sthit pragya position, even if one makes whole life endeavor and he receives that sthit vashyam antakale api, even at the time of death, that person will be Braham Nirvanam Mrikshati. That person will come to me. So these two verses are Falasruti verse. A person of the fixed intelligence will have the real peace, and even that fixed intelligence is being achieved at the time of death, very last minute when we are about to die. Then even in that stage, we'll go home, back to Krishna. So that's what it's basically this chapter is talking about. So I have a question for you here, all of you. So here in the verse number 70, it says that there are three things given here. Apuryamanam achala pratistham samudram apah parvishanti yadvat. So pratistham here, achalam pratistham, means the tat, bank, and samudram means ocean. So there is the ocean has bank, and then apah parvishanti yadavat, and the rivers. Apah, rivers are basically merging into the ocean, and the water is staying within the bank. So can you tell me what here is referring to river, what here referring to the ocean, and what here referring to the tata? Anybody would like to take a shot? three things here, right? Apuryamanam, achala pratistham. So pratistham is referring here to the achal pratistham, means the bank. And samudram is ocean and river. So river is merging into the ocean, but ocean is not floating. So we have river, we have ocean, and we have tat. So what this refers to? What's river is referring to? Sensual desire, right? Right?
Yes, Prabhu.
We have so many, desires coming up, right? So since the desire for sense enjoyment is referred here by river, a person, is receiving tons of, desire, and ocean is referring here to who?
Our self-consciousness.
Yeah, Isthit Pragya. Yes, it refers to the person who is Isthit Pragya. Okay, a person who has Isthit Pragya, who has form, who has higher consciousness, Krishna consciousness, he's not bewildered by this desire of senses coming into him. And then this tu tata is referring to his fixedness. He's fixed. His intelligence is fixed. His bhav is fixed in Krishna consciousness, and he is like ocean of consciousness, so that the desire incessantly coming into him is not making him bewildered, is not carrying him away anyways. Okay, so that's how we are completing the second chapter, and you all have time to submit the homework by next Friday. And let's see if there is any realization, any questions, anything, any comment anybody has before we adjourn. Is it helping? Is it clear or not?
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm going
Yes,
to.
Prabhuji.
So this chapter, if some of the concept is not clear, please don't worry, because I know that we are going to have chapter dedicated on each of this topic. So we'll get into detail of it, but I would like to make the session more interactive. You can raise your hand, ask questions, try to understand some of the things, or if I have misspoken something, please ask and help understand. Okay, so we have two hand raised. Jyoti Mataji, what do you want to share?
I loved the session. Thank you so much. I just had a couple of questions. What's the difference between the gross body and the subtle body?
So gross body is basically made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and a sthul body like our body. So gross, in a very simple way, gross is something which can be seen, which can be perceived. So you can see me, right? I'm looking, a certain format, right? So this is my gross body. But within my body, I have some aspect that you cannot see, which is my mind, which is helping me, think, intelligence, and then false ego. So living being has basically gross body and subtle body. So mind, intelligence, and false ego, those three are our subtle body. And the body that we are seeing is our gross body. That we can see, we can perceive, I'm tall, I'm lean and thin, I am this color, this type of eyes, nose, ears, some of the things that you can perceive by looking at me, right? Gross perception. But can you tell me how much intelligence I have? Can you tell me where is my mind? But I have those things, right? Can you tell me how much false ego do I have?
I don't think you have any. I don't think you
I
have.
have. I have. The false ego of being male, is also false ego. Oh, I'm man. You can ask my wife; she'll tell you.
So, so, so some part of our existence, is there, but we can't see. So it's subtle. It's subtle. So our existence has two part: gross part and subtle part. Gross part is basically our body, which is made out of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then subtle part is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So both subtle and gross is material.
Mhm.
The gross body get destructed at the time of death, but the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego, carries away. And if I haven't purified myself sufficiently through the process of bhakti, then mind, intelligence, and false ego will get another gross body. But if I have purified my subtle and gross, both intelligence, then I leave the gross body. Then soul is free.
Yay.
So soul is free now. No, nothing to carry. Then soul is free from this material contamination, and soul happily goes back to Krishna, and then there we get the spiritual body, which is not made of material element. So our goal is to first purify our gross existence, and then purify our subtle, which is little hard, but do both types of purification so that we can go back to home, back to Krishna.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I only had one other question.
Yes.
I've always wondered, like Prabhuji, like there's like in spirituality, there's two trains of thoughts. Like a lot of spiritual people I listen to, they say like we create we make our own.
Yeah.
So we make our own sukh, we make our own dukh, right? But
Yes.
and they say, and then there are some trains of thought that say, oh, it is through our karam that we make sukh and dukh. But then there are some people that say, oh no, God is the one who gives you sukh and dukh. So how do, like, who is creating the sukh or dukh? Is it the God? Is it us by our karma, or just us?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Bhagavatam, in Bhagavatam, it's very nicely, answered. And I'll explain a little bit. This question was asked, by Yudhishthira Maharaj to Bhishma Pitama, that he asked, my dear grandfather, I am the cause of suffering of all of the Pandavas, and I am the cause of, this battlefield and killing of all of my brothers and relatives, because I am the king, and for me everything happened. Then Bhismitama, is answering it. It's mentioned in, it's basically one of the theme that run in Bhagavatam. Prithu Maharaj also answers the same question to his citizens. When Dhruv Maharaj was killing the Yaksha, then Swambhu Manu is coming and helping him understand that why you think that you are, this Yaksha is cause of killing your brother, Uttama. And in all of that, the answer is given that na kal, na swabhav, na karma, na bhagya, all of that are cause, but these are superficial cause. All of this seems to be cause, but all of these cause are superficial cause. The real cause is Bhagwan Swayam. But why? But that doesn't mean that we can blame Krishna. Okay, so to understand how not to blame Krishna, we have to understand how this transition of superficial cause leads to ultimate cause. So all of these are superficial cause. Ultimate cause is Krishna, but Krishna is not responsible. Okay, up to some part, these superficial cause are responsible. Okay, but at some point, all of this superficial cause will go away. Like for example, take the example of karma. For sure, a person who is not devotee, his life is fully managed and governed by karma. Okay, so you said very well that each and every action that we are doing, each and every minute, it's giving us next body. We see or not see, but it is. So these things are responsible. But since these are not eternal, these are not final, final or ultimate cause, because your karma can be nullified by engaging in devotional service. So why karma is the cause? Your swabhav can be changed by engaging in devotional service. Okay, so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna prati janihi name bhakta pannashati. As long as living being is fully acting under their free will, they are managed by Maya. They are managed by energy of Krishna. And in that case, all the superficial cause are responsible. But once Jiva is looking towards Krishna and saying that, my dear Lord, I know I have no qualification. I know I'm very fallen. I know I have no qualities to even be your devotee. But somehow or other, I have come to your lotus feet. Kindly accept me and give me the path so that I can come to you. From that day, all the superficial cause starts vanishing slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly. It will vanish. And then Krishna's interference will start happening in our life. And then we go back to home, back to Krishna. Okay, Mataji? So these answers are partly true and partly wrong. Okay. If you are in the middle, if you are on the other side, completely away from Krishna, then it's fully true. Okay. But if you are looking towards Krishna, then slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, these things will go away. And ultimate cause, Sarvakaran Karanam, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakaran Karanam. Sarvakaran Karanam is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So there is a presentation on this topic that I have created. It has a lot of information. I just very quickly shared with you that what was the essence of it. But once we are trying to align our value system means our way of acting, our way of talking, the way we do things, align with the Guru Shastra and Sadhu. Then I'm making my 100% endeavor to have my value system aligning with the teaching of Guru Shastra and Sadhu. Then I'm good. Although I might not be a pure devotee, but Krishna says that don't worry, I'll help you and I'll bring you back to me. So hope it helped you understand a little bit. But this thing will become more clear, Mataji. This is a little bit more technical. You'll have to understand some of the other aspect of technicality to have a perfect answer for this. But in a nutshell, both of those are partly true, depending on where you are in your consciousness. But ultimate cause is Krishna.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think I've already asked a lot of questions, so I'll give somebody else a chance. Yeah, okay.
Okay, Prabhu, you have something? Amogna Prabhu, I saw your hand was raised.
Yeah, bro, just this administrative question.
Yeah.
Regarding this uploading the homework in the Google Classroom. Actually, after we submit a particular assignment, I don't see another option to add another document or another assignment. So
I will have to create a, I think I need to go and create a link for second chapter homework. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, but
I was out, so I'll do it, Prabhu.
Yeah, and I also see that like as soon as you create the homework, if you don't upload it on the very same day, it shows that it is turned in late. I mean, I
Yeah. I'll just give the date now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just have the open dates. I'll do it.
Okay, bro.
Thank you. And Kunj Bilasini Devi Dasi Mataji, I'll add you to the group, okay? And you will get the link today. Anybody,
Okay.
anything else that they would like to share? Stay tuned, you would like this course, okay? If you do the homework, read Prabhupada's purport, it will give you a lot of learning. I think, I do more than what this course is designed for. So I'm sure you would have good time. I was a little bit, sick from last 1 week, so I'm still a little bit not quite where I want to be, but I'll get well and we'll have nice time together. Yes, Manor Prabhu, we wanted to say something. You are laughing nicely.
No. I also came recently from India, so I can.
Haribol.
I also was not well a little bit, but I can. I'm very sorry, Prabhuji. I completely. I was late, and I cannot make excuses about it. So I'm sorry.
No problem, Prabhuji. Thank you. So we are going to have 11 o'clock fixed.
Yes. Okay.
No
Yeah.
change. No change. This time is fixed for us, and we are going to have 11 o'clock on every Saturday. Santa Mataji has agreed that she will work with this time. So all of us are fine. We'll keep this time. And some of the link part and the homework part, I would like to take some time and work on that today if I can, and send you some message on the WhatsApp group. But really appreciate, and if there are some more devotees who wants to be part of this program, I know that devotees are looking for this course because this is mandate course for many devotees. So if there are people who wants to be part of this course, we are still in the beginning, just 2 chapters we have finished. So if there is anybody else, please let them know and we can add them to this program. Okay.
All right.
Dandat pranams to
Dandat
everybody.
pranam, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Vansh kalpataru vyasa kripa sindhu vyasa patitanam pavaneve vaisnave namo namah. Assemble bhakta vrindi ki jai nitai gaur premanandi hari hari bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare. Dandavats.